Hello YouTube, Jerry Kirkpatrick here, and today I've got 6 different little pieces that I've made for my vise that makes it much more usable. How many times have we gone to use the vise and put an odd piece in, round or whatever, and you get to working on it and all of a sudden it moves, or it's not exactly where you were hoping that it would be when you're doing some drilling or grinding or filing or such. So let me show you the 6 pieces that I'll be showing you, not only how they're used in the vise, but how I made them. First, we have the ubiquitous soft jaws. Everybody has a set of those, or most people either have them or will need them at some point. The second one is for holding round horizontally in your vise. These here are Vise Spacers. In my last video, I used a bolt. I was trying to drill a hole in a bolt for the vise handle, and when I struck it using the transfer punch, it moved down, and then I put a bolt of an equal size on the other side, and then it held fast, and that's what these are meant for. Next, we have a vise angle block, and this is for working against this space. A lot of times you'll hold a piece horizontally in your vise, and as you're working on it, it'll slip, move away from where you're wanting to work. With this tool, you will be clamping the workpiece and the vise angle block and working against this surface here. Next, we have an aligning tool. You can put material of different dimensions on this side and clamp it, and then put either an equal size piece in this side, or with spacers you can get pieces aligned on center and then do some welding or grinding or whatever it is that you want to do. So now that I've showed you the pieces, the 6 pieces that we're going to be talking about today, let's get over on the vise and I'll show you how they're made and how they're used. So the first thing we have is the standard old soft jaws. These are made out of aluminum, and I think I might do a video on how to make these, how to make a pattern. So anytime you want to make some, you'll have a pattern to make them out of either aluminum, copper, or brass, whatever you wish, so the jaws of your vise don't mar the piece that you're trying to work on. Next, we have an attachment that will go in the vise to hold round stock in your vise. It's made of 1/4 by 2 by 2 angle iron with a piece of 1/4 by 1 by 1 angle iron welded on at a 45-degree, plus it has a little keeper down at the bottom welded on, so it captures the bottom of the vise, and that's just slid on. Material is clamped in there using whatever amount of force is required for the work that you're going to be doing. It won't turn, and you can put a lot of force up or down on it, and because of the keeper on the bottom, it won't allow it to slip. A lot of times you'll have a piece of pipe and you're wanting to take a fitting off. With this, everything stays pretty well stable. And there you can see pretty much how that's made. Next we have the Vise Spacers, and I've made these from 1/4 inch all the way up to the 1 inch. I have 1/4, 3/8, half, 5/8, 3/4, and 1 inch. And I'm sure many of you have put a piece on one side of the vise and try to work on it, and it's free to move. By putting a vise spacer in the opposite side, even if you have just a slight amount of purchase on the jaw, this is going to be quite sturdy. So a set of the Vise spacers are a pretty handy piece to have. These are just a piece of 1/8 inch. The 3 smaller sizes are 1/8 by 3/4, and then the 5/8, 3/4, and 1 inch. I use 1 inch wide, just drill a hole in it. When you make that rosette weld, it doesn't interrupt the sides here and make it come out of the sharp edge of the vise. Next is the Vise angle block, just a piece of 1/8 by 1.5 inches, 6 inches long, and a piece of 2 by 2 square cut at a 45 degrees. And with this, the weld only wants to be on one side. You want to retain that sharp corner for your vise on one side, and this is quite handy for doing any kind of chisel work or maybe even filing. And the nice thing about this, with this being on a 45 this way, you can work on this side and see exactly where your punches or chisels are going to be placed. Next is a piece for working irregular shapes. Obviously your jaws are parallel, so you can't hold something with a taper on it. So this is just a piece of 1/4 by 2 by 2 angle iron, and I've welded a 5/8 round piece on the inside. And then this piece here is merely for weight. This sits farther forward and it had a tendency to fall. So this little piece here is nothing but a counterweight. And the way it works, if you have an irregular shape, like the handle on a crescent wrench, you just put it in there and it tightens right up. It seeks the correct angle for whatever it is that you're working on. That is quite a handy piece to have ready to go. And the last one is an alignment tool. A lot of times you may have pieces that you want to weld together or do some work on to get an alignment, a nice fit. This is just made out of 3/8 by 1.5 inch, and then just a couple of pieces of, looks like 3/16 by 1 welded to a couple of pieces of 1/8 by 1 angle iron. And this little tab here is just a place for some pony clamps to fit. And this is used like this. Here's some 1-inch round tubing. You have another piece of 1-inch round. Just slide it up in there. And if you notice, I had a break in it right here, so I can weld almost all the way around. So this is good for same thickness of material. If you have a piece of dissimilar dimension, I'm wanting to weld this edge right here. So this has been turned down to center. So all I need to do is put some pieces in that are half of the wall thickness or half the diameter. That'll slide right in there. Put the clamp on, and now I'm ready to weld a different size, and they are on center. So I hope you found some of those tools at least interesting. I hope some of them will be something that you can use to make the work in your vise easier. Thank you very much for watching. Share, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching.